it's either today or tomorrow that Chiron, a comet, enters Aries. And I looked into it a bit, and it looks like it enters Aries every 50 years. But it'll be in Aries for 9 years. And I'm going to talk about this more later. But today, I'm going to go and donate blood. Chiron represents the wounded healer, and it's coming into my birth sign either today, according to one website, or tomorrow, on my very birthday. But first, reaching out to heal others who are in need of some blood. So I'm going to go do that, and then I'll come back, and hopefully I'll get a chance to talk to myself more later. Chiron enters Aries. The blood lady just told me about a book called Dirty Genes. Hello. That was a really successful blood donation. And they also gave me this neat little 3-time donor thing, though it was my 6th time. And I just saw a llama, which is really cool. And last night I slept really well. I fell asleep right away. I only took 1 dose of the falling asleep vitamins, and I didn't take as much as the night before. I took 1 less sunflower lecithin. I think I took less taurine. Hopefully I won't have to take taurine at bedtime at all. So I am going to start to minimize that falling asleep stuff. But it's nice because for these last 2 days and today that I haven't been taking the dopamine boosters, I've felt tired at around 7 or 8. I stay up later, but it's good to feel tired because that'll help me fall asleep. So I think I'm going to keep going with not taking the dopamine boosters. I don't really need it. Just using light therapy a little bit. And now I'm going to go get my deposit return for that car, that electric car I was thinking of getting, but not the right timing. My little old car is still working. And I'm gonna go get a burrito so I don't have to make dinner. And I'm gonna continue to organize all my videos on an external hard drive. I started doing that today because yesterday I was having trouble saving my edited videos on my phone. It was saying I didn't have enough memory when I did, but today it's allowing me to. I tested it out. So I think I don't have as big of a problem as I thought, but it's good to be organized with that. It's nice outside today, and it's going to be nice except for like 1 day from now on, at least in the foreseeable future. So I don't even know if I want to spend time indoors much after today. So I'll try and do outdoor stuff in the day and then do some indoor stuff at night. That's what I say, but I do need to be more active. I've been sitting too much. And today I was focused while driving here to the blood donation according to Spire, and I was only tense during the blood donation right before they stuck the needle in and when they stuck the needle in, only for 3 minutes, and then the rest was fine. And I feel good, and this good energy is going to continue for another month and a half to 2 months. And I was thinking about getting more work, but then I was thinking maybe I'll do what I did last time, and if I end up feeling crappy in the summer, get a job when I feel crappy. It was interesting to be suicidally depressed and work full-time, but it's almost a good time because then I don't waste the time that I'm feeling really good working. I'm spending that living my life, and then when I'm doing really poorly than work. We'll see what happens. I'd like to continue to live some fun times in the summertime if possible. Plus, I am working. That's all I do is work. I just don't get paid for it. I'm doing so much research, so much organizing of this and trying to get things together. I don't even have time to do all of it. So I'm always working. I'm just working in a different way that maybe one day I'll get paid. I don't want to set up this whole thing like, oh, if I navigate the next crisis well with these supplements, I'll share it with the world. But I'm continuing with this journey to see what happens, and if I'm able to navigate it, that will give me more freedom to do the next thing. Like if I feel safe to have a major crisis, then that changes things. And yeah, we'll see what happens. Today, like I said, Chiron, the comet, entered Aries, and it'll be in Aries for 9 years. I don't know much about it, but I read this really great article about Chiron this morning, and I will talk about it later when I get home for a little bit, because it was really interesting. It's really pertinent. It makes a lot of sense, and it's cool that Chiron's in Aries starting today or tomorrow, which is tomorrow's my birthday, so that is so cool. I think this is going to be a powerful time, this next 9 years. And it could be if I don't dip into suicidal depression after the next crisis. Maybe it's in the stars that it's time for this to be over. But I'm not banking on it. I'm not going to be silly and think that it's not going to happen. It is going to happen, but it's going to be manageable, and I'm going to understand it a lot better this time because of all the different research that I'm doing and the insights that are coming to me in this space. And I was thinking of doing short clips talking about the insights as well as writing them down, because if I write them down and talk about them later, they sort of lose their energy, and I look at them later when I'm not in that same state and they're kind of like, well, blah, what does that mean? It's not that meaningful. It doesn't feel that significant. And I think that's okay too. I had an insight this morning that I've talked about how when consciousness starts to go on the decline after a crisis and lowers from a high state to a low state, the sort of wake of that, like the turbulence of that, just like the turbulence coming off or the wake coming off an airplane or a ship, is all these thoughts and past stuff and awfulness. It's like, it's what flies up into awareness and around and interfering with one's reality as one comes in for a landing really quickly. Well, I feel like it's possible that insight is what is given off as one sort of is rising in energy. And I don't know if that's true, but it seems like one's going through time and then poof, there's an insight that pops through the brain and into awareness, and one can write down or talk about, and then on the way down it's like past stuff. So if one is future time, I'm not making sense. I just gave blood. I'm gonna stop talking now and drive. After donating blood, it's good to eat a big meal. Yes, I am gonna eat all of it. I got my vitamins from Vitacost today, and also from iHerb, and I got a door stub for another order, which is probably my order from No Tropics Depot. So on Thursday, after I pick that up, I can organize all these with the labels according to the crisis plan. So these are the ones I got from Vitacost and iHerb. Vitacost. This is the only new one. Jiao Gulan. I have to look up if I'm supposed to take that now or later. And I got more lithium orotate, and this is the super expensive Super Bio Curcumin. And from iHerb I got more of this probiotic because they wouldn't ship it from Vitacost. 2 per day, they don't have this on Vitacost, and I got 1 extra lithium orotate, so I'll be covered pretty much till the end of June. I feel really thirsty after donating blood. Yesterday I learned if you put rose water, just a couple drops, and lemon juice in your water, it's some kind of tonic. So I had lemon oil, so I put 1 drop in this whole thing, and I have rose water because I have almost everything, because I had it at some point for some reason. I think to make some kind of like natural deodorant that I never made or something like that. So I just happened to have it, so I made it. And then I also learned that Tulsi tea is a good nerve tonic. So I ordered some Tulsi tea today on Amazon, along with some athletic tape. I might have to get different tape, like the tape they use for gauze. Look at my Band-Aid. But I'm gonna try this tape because these are the 3 sleep masks I've ordered. The Amaze Cur. Now this, it's not bad actually. I might keep it because this might be really easy to tape, and this was only 15 bucks. And I got the Sleep Master mask. Now this one I don't like because it slips. It's just made out of material that just slips off so easily. So I'm gonna return this one. And the 3rd one I got is the Dream Sleeper. It's pretty similar to the Sleep Master. This one's a bit thicker and not as long as this one. So this one, it just kind of falls off. This Dream Sleeper, it stays on a bit better. But it kind of falls off too. I don't know, maybe I should return both of those and keep the cheap one. This one might be this one might be able to be fastened to some kind of hat or something, but the trouble is if I want to tape it, I can't really tape it here because it'll be in my hair. Unless, of course, just tighten it really tight, but it's still, this one kind of falls off too. This one, yeah. This one I think you could tape it and it would stay on, which would be strange, but at least it's something. So maybe I'll return both of those. They kind of slip off. And I got this juice to be one of my branched chain amino acid juice, but it expires on May 30th. So I'm gonna get some cans of juice that don't really expire. This one might be good if I go into too high of energy before that, but giving blood today gives me an excuse to drink juice. I never drink juice. I don't like to drink calories, and it's always extra sugar. I drink kombucha. It's not really that much sugar. Sometimes I drink kombucha. But feeling really thirsty, so I'm gonna just go for it. Oh, not bad. UV filtered water from frozen orange concentrate. So yeah, I'll have to think a little bit more about those sleep masks. This one could at least be taped here if necessary, whereas the other one can't be taped. So I'm changing my mind here. I think I like the Sleepmaster better, because at least it could be taped right here to keep it on my head. I don't know what to do, so I'm a little bit fidgety. And I have 2 new additions to my keychain. I got this yesterday. Isn't it cute? And then I got the little blood drop for donating blood. So those are my keys. And the other thing about donating blood is it actually helps to slow down aging. I read in Dr. Mercola's book, Fat for Fuel, that too much iron in the body is bad for us. It speeds up the aging process. It's kind of like rust in the body. So getting rid of the excess iron is a good thing. He recommended donating blood, or if you can't, actually having blood extracted from yourself. So I donated blood, so that will help reduce the iron in my body. And I'm a vegetarian, so when I want to donate blood, I have raw oats a week or 2 before. I had some raw oats, and I just put a little bit in with my morning smoothie in a high-powered blender, and I didn't even notice it was in there. And it was actually hulled oats, not hull-less, so they would look like rice and pretty strong, and the blender just blended it right up, pulverized it. And my hemoglobin was 148, and I don't think it's ever been that high. And I don't think I'm taking any supplements with iron in it. The 2 per day, what I like about it is there's no iron in it, there's no copper in it. Yeah, no copper, which I think I'm sensitive to. There's something called something related to copper and mental health, so I prefer to go without it. Plus, copper is a zinc agonist, so copper and zinc kind of compete for each other, and I'm taking zinc, so copper would only kind of mess that up. And yeah, this doesn't have any iron, which I like, because a lot of multivitamins do, but Dr. Mercola is saying that iron isn't the best thing for us to have an overload of. So this is a good supplement. And there was something else that's not in here that's commonly in things, but is a little bit not good necessarily for mental health stuff. So like this one. And somebody reached out to me and sent me an email, and then it was funny because their footer of their email today was sort of like a special message, and it wasn't there in the footer of their email last time they emailed me, so I thought maybe they just added it, so it felt like this woo-woo message from the universe right here. And these are the types of messages that come when one is in a heightened state. But then I think it's just in the footer, because in the reply it was there. So maybe it was an affirmation for that person, but it was kind of like, ah. And somebody recommended a video about a man named Slow Mo. And it's a man who was a doctor making a lot of money. And then at some point he simplified his life, and now he rollerblades along the ocean like every day. And I love to rollerblade, so it resonated with me. And then he was talking about how he rollerblades, which is standing with one leg up and then his head forward, kind of like flying. And he was saying that he did research, because he's kind of like a brain guy, on how when the head's in the position like that, it gives the sensation of lateral acceleration. And the way he skates, he can like keep going forward almost indefinitely. I think on a flat surface, or maybe a slight decline, I don't know. But he really gets into the moment that way, and he was saying that is a gateway to the moment. So I might try to rollerblade like him. I might have to get some bigger speed skates though. With the astrology stuff I've been looking into, I realized my number whenever I've played sports has been 54, and that's 2 times 27, which is 2 Saturn returns. But not really. Like, I don't know if it would be 54, it would be 2 of them, because it's 27 to 29 years. But 27 is the beginning of that, so still somewhat interesting, but not that interesting. The source of this next part is astrologyking.com. So a few things about Saturn retrograde. Saturn retrograde in transit is a regular cycle occurring just over every 12 months, lasting about 4.5 months. Transiting Saturn retrograde is a time of limitation, restriction, anxiety, and fear. Saturn retrograde means that whatever area of responsibility you have developed is so important, extra time is needed to take stock and make sure everything is in order before you continue. That's kind of what I'm doing. And that starts tonight. You may be tested to make sure you are ready to take on the extra responsibility. And it says Saturn retrograde 2018 starts April 17th and ends on September 6th. And I put those dates in my calendar. So this could be a difficult time. Maybe the crisis will end September 6th. Retrograde motion is a time when karma is sorted out. Therefore, Saturn retrograde is a double dose of karma. Good thing I donated blood and saved a few lives. Karma is a form of energy that is very real. Like Saturn, it is very closely bound to time. Past, present, and future blur into one. You got that right. If you have been bad in the past, then at a certain predestined time, an event will occur to teach you a lesson. Well, I've been taught many lessons. I don't know how well I've learned. So that was a little bit about Saturn retrograde. And then something that was really interesting was reading an article about Chiron in Aries. And the title is Chiron in Aries 2018 to 2027. You are here for a reason. Ooh. Written by Astro Butterfly. It says Chiron in Aries transit is one of the most important events of 2018. Chiron will enter in Aries on April 18th. A different source I had said April 17th. April 18th is tomorrow, which is my birthday. And leave Aries on April 14th, 2027. Now that is a long way away. I'm going to have to put that in my calendar though. So it'll be in Aries for 9 years. So I'm wondering if this will be a good period of time, because something else, maybe this, mentioned how Chiron is related to the wounded healer. Oh, weird. It says Chiron goes into retrograde on July 5th, 2018 and moves back into Pisces from September 26th to February 18th, 2019. It says we can have a boost of spiritual movements between 2023 and 2024. People will choose to leave behind the old identification of the self and embrace a new identity, a new name, a new outlook on life. Born-again movements can intensify. If you're born between 69 and 77, you'll have a Chiron return. A Chiron return always takes place around the age of 50. Chiron has an irregular orbit and spends more time in some signs than others, between 1.5 and 9 years. Chiron spends the most time in Pisces and in Aries, 8 to 9 years. And that's interesting because Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac and Aries is the first sign. Chiron spends the most time in these two signs because this is where he has to work hardest, connecting the end of everything, Pisces, to the beginning of all possibilities, Aries, is not an easy task. But if there's someone that can embark on this journey, that is Chiron. In this way, Chiron acts like a link between the unconscious and the conscious, between materiality and immateriality. The same theme of linking two different realities of existence emerges if we study Chiron's orbit. And Saturn has an effect on me here. The last visible planet in Uranus, the first transpersonal planet. By orbiting between Saturn and Uranus, Chiron links our personal experience to the collective experience. Whenever Chiron triggers your natal chart by transit, a healing crisis occurs. Ultimately, Chiron's role is to break, but also to put back together different forms of existence. Chiron breaks everything only to find a superior order. Chiron is the alchemist of the zodiac. And then it goes on. It's a really good article. Chiron in Aries, the identity wound. Chiron in Aries is where you feel you don't have the right to be yourself. And that's kind of how I feel a lot of the times. And I won't go into that. I don't really feel like that, but there is that element for sure. So I won't read all that, but later on in there, it talks about the greatest wound of all, the wound of identity, yada, yada, yada. But then in the article at the end, it says people who have the most challenging forms of psychosis usually come from upbringings where they were not allowed to be themselves, to express their uniqueness. And I feel like I was sort of programmed to be a certain way, and that wasn't me, and I didn't really know myself at all, and made a lot of mistakes. And now I'm kind of paying for the mistakes I made because I didn't know myself at all. But it's interesting because I feel like I have really challenging forms of psychosis. But yeah, that's all about that. And I really like that article, but I'm not going to read more of that. So that's kind of all I have for today. I had a really good day, and tomorrow I work and it's my birthday, and I'll hang out and have dinner, and then the next day I have an online meeting about something, and by Thursday night I'll know a little bit more if I want to try to go somewhere in May as well as June, or if it's only June. So organizing for the crisis, making those plans. So I'm not going to get into talking about insights because after tomorrow, when I have time, I need to do more crisis preparation and have that all ready, and then decide what to do. So I don't want to be sitting here talking to myself like this in this room. It's starting to get nice out. I want to be out and about. Maybe that's when I can print some insights and talk about them. But I'm not in a rush to talk about that stuff. I need to be prepared first. So that's what I'm going to do. And here's the mark of the healer that I was telling you about.